What's happening, y'all? Showman Flex. Back at it with another car video. Finally. It's been a long time. Or maybe like a week. It's been a week because I took the week off and went out of town to visit my family from back home, and I was on vacation. I didn't want to do no videos. Just recharge, regroup, right? And even though we're doing a bunch of, podcast form videos now, I'm still gonna give y'all car videos because it's a little different element, you know what I mean, side of Flex, you know what I mean, where we just cool, we just relax, we just shooting the shit, we just talking. But we're gonna get into it. No, not only Pookie and Ray Rays get women, or I should say Pookies and Ray Rays are not the only dudes that get women or get black women, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what we're gonna kind of get into, because a lot of dudes be thinking that Pookies and Ray Rays be getting women, and women just want the bad boys and the thugs and the Pookies and shit. And that ain't true, right? But before we get into it, shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank y'all so much for joining the channel. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for all the old recurring subscribers that have been here since day one. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all so much. We are continuing to grow on this channel, right? And we're gonna keep growing. We're gonna keep growing, and we're gonna keep thriving. You know what I mean? Growing and thriving and learning, right? But let's get into it, man. Listen, Pookies and Ray Rays are not the only people that get women, and a lot of times, especially in the black community, right? I'm gonna kind of talk to us for a little bit, because like a lot of people think that Pookies and Ray Rays are the only people in the black communities, or the only men in the black community that gets women, and that ain't the case. Excuse me, that ain't the case, right? So, like, I went to a HBCU, okay, and HBCUs, a lot of times you see a broad spectrum of black people, right? Certain HBCUs, I would say, but I say majority of them. You don't just see people that, like, even though sometimes HBCUs can kind of sometimes be sort of in the hood of that city, maybe, or near the black side of that city, still, you don't see hood people. Like, you may see pro-black people. You may see pro-black guys, but a lot of times you see very educated men and women, right? But definitely educated men that are trying to strive for greatness, trying to strive for, they're trying to strive for legacy, building their legacy, right? A lot of times you run into that. Very educated brothers, they probably pledged too. Now, I didn't pledge, but you run into that, right? And they are trying to be respected in their fields of expertise. They're trying to grow, probably in grad chaplain, this and that. Grad chaplain, I think is what it's called, right? And like they have goals, they have ambitions, they have a lot of skills. You know what I mean? And I'm not even gonna call them bougie, but they have a high caliber IQ. They have respect for themselves. They have ambitions, like I said before, goals. They are determined. But they still date black women, and they black queens. They still date black queens all the time, and black queens and black women love them. They love them a highly educated brother, king, right? They'll look at a Pookie and Ray Ray and be like, oh, hell nah, I don't want that. Like, y'all gotta understand that, like, a lot of dudes in the black community that are highly educated themselves, that probably went to what I like to call PWIs, predominantly white institutions that are black themselves, they like to throw this trope to black women, saying that, nah, black women, I don't date black women because they only deal with Pookies and Ray Rays. Listen, y'all dealing with the wrong black women. Y'all dealing with the wrong black women, man. Like, listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, y'all deal with, or y'all still thinking about in high school, right? When y'all see these hood chicks, hood rats, ratchet chicks that deal with hood dudes. Deal with Pookies and Ray Rays. Give Pookies and Ray Rays play the time of day. You know what I mean? Y'all so stuck on that. And yeah, you got some educated black women that deal with Pookies and Ray Rays. I'm not going to act like that ain't the case, or they don't deal with bad boys, or you know, they don't deal with educated, high educated men because they call them corny or, you know, whatever. But on the real, fuck them. They don't matter. Like they're the exception. They're not the rule, as I like to call it. They kind of like outliers. You know, it's not as many of them as y'all try to make it out to be. From my experience, right? I ain't no dude from the hood. I ain't a Pookie Ray Ray type of dude. You know what I mean? I got my degree, grew up in a 2-parent household, this and that. And, you know, black women that I was with and dated, they were into dudes like myself, right? And I ain't even gonna say that I'm like, you know, I went to undergrad. It took me 6 years to graduate. You know, I transferred from school to school, won't focus, this and that. You know, I'm not even gonna call myself like a, you know, I ain't got my graduates and my doctorate and all that shit. Look, I stopped at the undergrad and I do my own thing. I hustle, I do my shit, whatever, right? But so I'm not like, I guess you probably could say I'm in between. But, you know, at the same time, I've been with women and black women that have also been with and go for men that are not Pookies and Ray Rays, right? That's kind of like the argument, like a lot of other people always like to say, that black women only want to deal with dudes that got that thugs, Pookies and Ray Rays, jocks, athletes. Jocks, probably white people call that jocks, but athletes, studs. Black women only deal with that, or dudes that got money, right? And that ain't the case, y'all. You missing a whole completely different demographic of highly educated men and brothers. They get a lot of women. Them be the ones, I'm gonna be honest with you. And then a lot of times they end up marrying, you know, even though people all on social media always want to make it out like men like that only date white women or non-black women, when most times statistics will show you, right, them type of brothers, black men, typically date other black women that are also educated, have degrees, masters, career working woman, also has goals and ambitions. They tend to date each other. You know what I mean? They don't date the Pookies and Ray Rays. The Pookies and Ray Rays, honestly, y'all, most of the time, Pookies and Ray Rays get women that are kind of bottom of the barrel. You know, I think it was, Cousin T-Taw said this because he had a whole list of the octane list. If y'all following me, some of y'all that follow me or subscribe to my channel, you kind of probably came from Ron Wills and Cousin T-Taw, right? Them are people that I was listening to before I even made YouTube. So them the OGs for real. But like, he had an octane list, and you know, it was like the low grade 85 octane, them be the ones that deal with Pookies and Ray Rays. Pookies and Ray Rays can only really get them a lot of time. Pookies and Ray Rays can't get the upper echelon of women like that, y'all. The only time they can get them type of women that you would deem as very attractive, high class, this and that, right? Is when, I don't know, I probably say they trying to be rebellious to their father. The woman is trying to be rebellious to their father, right? And that's not a reach. This really happens. They trying to be rebellious to their own dad, their own father. And they ain't trying to hear nothing about what their father telling them they need to be dating, this and that. They don't give a fuck about that. They just trying to be rebellious and live on their own time and on their own code to make their father, or they want the thrill of that and they think that Pookie and Ray Ray thug dude is going to give them that, right? But it's not. A lot of time that phase winds down and dries the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that, it don't happen all the time. You see it in shows and movies, yeah. But in reality, a lot of dudes, a lot of women, once they get to a certain age, they're not really trying to get with a Pookie and Ray Ray no more. Or they probably never been with one. You know what I mean? So, again, no. Pookies and Ray Rays are not the only people, especially in the black community, that get women. Like, so when I hear rhetoric like that, and dudes be like, nah, all women want is Pookies and Ray Rays and this and that. Man, listen, y'all got to go out and touch grass. That's like the main point that I try to get y'all to understand. Y'all need to go out and fucking touch grass and really see what the world be like. Like, you know, anime nerds, dudes that are nerds, look at comic books. They get women. Black women. Black dudes that are nerds get women, y'all. Like, this ain't even, you know what I mean? It ain't just a jock. It ain't just the star athlete. You know, the playboy. That ain't the only one, the bad boys, that ain't the only ones that get women. So this narrative, it should just keep getting weaker and weaker. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, most Pookies and Ray Rays that I know and that I have met, they get, and they cool with getting, like, basically, I said bottom of the barrel before, but low-hanging fruit. They cool with getting low-hanging fruit. Like, that's what they get. You know what I mean? That's, they in the same environment with each other. You feel what I'm saying? And they cool with that shit. It's not them, a whole bunch of them stealing high-class Hillary Banks type women. It's not like that, y'all. I know a lot of times people like to make it seem like that, but you know, that ain't the case. And maybe it's because I went to a HBCU, so I just seen, and I didn't even go to a HBCU most of my college career. I only went for my last 2 years, but it was an eye-opener for me because I was going to PWIs mostly. Some small, some big, but I was going to PWIs, so, you know, even I had a change of perspective with shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it give you different perspective when you see it and you go to a HBCU. That's why I never trade in that experience, you know. Let me chill. The sirens. Police cars. Even I kind of changed my perspective with that. You know, because at one point I thought that bad boys, thugs, hood dudes were the only things that attracted black women, right? So, but again, yeah, no, Pookies and Ray Rays are not the only men in the black community that get black women or that get women. Far from the truth. Anyways, that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts on this topic, right? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Give me your thoughts. Do you think Pookies and Ray Rays, you know, get all the women in the black community or get women in general, right? Let me know. I would love to know your thoughts, right? Don't forget to click that subscribe button below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Shout out to all the subscribers. Thank y'all so much. We're going to keep rising. It's your man Flex. I'm out. Peace.